Yo, this is Steve Bloom, and you're watching Moana Nui podcast. We'll be starting soon. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, I'm Veronica Taylor, and from myself and Ash Ketchum, I just want to say, Moana Nui, I choose you!
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining today's episode. I'm very excited. Of course, I am doing my recovery, but I have two special co-hosts today. While Moana is in Kauai, I have our awesome guest co-host, Cece the Geek, and also Renee Cooper, who you have seen on our episodes of the past. We're very excited about our guest for today, which we are introducing you, for those that don't know, about Urban NerdCon. With that, we'll go ahead and bring our two guests to the forefront, and I will hand everything over to Renee and Cece.
Hi, welcome. And thank you, Dana, for the opportunity
What's going on?
as well.
How you guys doing?
Right.
All right.
Hey, Cece. Hey, everybody.
I know. So, hello and welcome to yet another special episode of the Moana Nui podcast. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. I'm Cece the Geek, and I'll let Renee introduce herself as well.
Hi, I'm Renee Cooper, and I do con stuff. I don't have a cool nickname as of now. I'm between cool nicknames right now. So, but yeah, professional con person, Renee Cooper.
That is a fair title.
We're gonna see if we can fix that after the Urban Nerd. Let's see if we can find
con
one.
queen. Yes,
Or get one for you.
I love it. Well, Rod, and is it Roddy? How do you pronounce
Yes,
it?
Okay. Roddy.
Roddy and Rod G. Okay, I'm with it.
Yep.
All right. So tell us about tell us about yourselves first and foremost, and
All
then
right, Roddy, you can go ahead.
Yeah,
Go first.
and then we can get into Urban NerdCon.
Oh, sure. Thanks. Well, my name is Roddy Lewis. I'm a indie game and comic book publisher. Been doing it for a few years. And met up with Roy a few years ago. He did some. Roy is the guy who started the Urban NerdCon. He did some voice work for some game characters I was working on, and we just been friends ever since. And he asked me to come on board and share some of my knowledge about video games with the upcoming people who are coming to his Urban NerdCon. I thought it'd be fun.
All right. Hey everybody, my name is Rod G, also known as the Five Borough Ronin, also known as Uncle Rod from the Grumpy Old Nerds podcast, which happens on JBN on Wednesdays, and I'm also a geek. I've been in the geek street since 11 years old. Comics, video games, art, tabletop role playing games, pretty much run the whole thing, anime included as well. And so Roy is actually one of my fraternity brothers, and so I kind of got linked up with him in that respect. And he said he wanted to get an urban nerd con going, and so at that point, I decided to kind of pitch in and do what I can to help make it happen.
Awesome. And I guess I'll go into who I am and kind of a little of how I got involved. Again, I am Renee. I have been going to conventions since 2012. I've been probably a nerd since Cartoon Network existed.
Facts.
Going to conventions since 2012. Volunteering with conventions since maybe 2016. I started going as press under with the Aficionados, which was our YouTube channel at the time. Was asked to join on and assist bringing in more press. And then a couple years after that, was asked to assist with programming at DragonCon. So I actually lead now I am the director of animation track programming at Dragon and media relations. Well, wait, I got promoted there too. Senior director of media at MomoCon. And a mutual friend in Atlanta named Tony Cade, who owns Challenges Games, was telling me that this new convention was starting up that was not too far away, and that they could use, kind of all hands on deck to try to get this going for its first year. And I was like, oh, it's Black. Yes, we're going to look into this, and I will see if they want to have some assistance. And hopefully I have not taken too many reins, but I have been doing what I can to assist with just consulting, but also helping keep the programming and stuff organized. So that's where, so I have seen the schedule and have physically
All
touched it and
versions of
moved it. Yes. And it's exciting, and it's, happening very close by. I've been to conventions like in Birmingham. It's just a couple hours drive from Atlanta. So I'm excited to have this as an opportunity for not only people who live in Georgia, but people who may live in the surrounding places to come in and visit and congregate in kind of an unlikely city, but there are nerds there, and we will be there. So
yes. All right, cool. So I guess really tell us the story in terms of what made you come up with this idea? What was the problem you were trying to solve? Although I think I can kind of think of the answer, but I don't want to answer it for you. So what's the problem that you were solving? And then what sets your con apart from the others?
Okay, well, I could take the first part.
And then also, what fraternity are you in?
Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay. Nice.
Yep.
What's up?
So, all right. So, in terms of looking at cons, I think we all can relate to a time in which we go to a con and we're like an ink spot in a glass of milk, and like we're one of the only people of color there. And so, and then we're looking kind of weird, like where's everybody else that looks like me, and they're looking at us like where'd they come from. So, we're trying to get the culture more to a point where it's not so much of an anomaly. And number one, and number two, we know that we have creative people of color all around, and they do a lot of these same amazing things that people at other cons do as well. And so we just wanted to kind of highlight that and make it so that, really, the way I look at it anyway, younger people can get a chance to see people who look like them doing the things that they really think are cool. And so I think this is an excellent opportunity to get that done.
Thanks. Cool. It's on you, Miss Cooper.
Oh, okay. So Rod D and Rod G have known Roy a little bit longer, probably a lot longer than I have. Rod G is again on the one of the live stream shows that he does with Roy. Rod D, I don't know if you're on that as well, but
No.
okay. So my experience has been very similar where while I do love seeing the growth and more people of color, especially Black people who are coming to conventions since honestly 2012, 2013. Actually, I say 2012, I mean 2009. I don't know. I missed 3 whole years of my life. Oh, I wonder how. But like since 2009.
That could be many reasons for that.
Exactly. But since 2009, I remember going and, I'm going to give a lot of people shout outs because there are some people in the con community who have done a great job of making sure that we have been seen. CC, you're already here, you're included. But, at Dragon Con, I remember, Sherman was one of the people that started the Black Geeks of Dragon Con and was one of a group of people who got the Black Nerds photo shoot started when it was like less than 40 people. And now we have this explosive entire stairwell that we have to cycle through people to, of all of us meeting in one place and a variety of costumes, plus, integrated, of course, with this huge convention. So, the type of creatives that go into, and that's just cosplayers, there's the group of photographers who are there, and the media presence that's there. And then there are creators who are part of the diversity track and some of the already existing tracks that are putting on content and talking about getting into these industries. So, why stop there? Why stop at Dragon Con? There's so many conventions and there's so much time in the year. It doesn't seem like there is, but there's so many spaces around that could use this. And on social media, the question I see all the time is, oh, well, why aren't there, I wish this convention was near me, or why aren't there more Black conventions? And you're like, here's a list that I have just found from like a simple knowledge poll, as well as a little bit of a Google search to find you, more than a handful of ones that are, if not run by Black people, which is a little bit shorter list, but features very much a lot of diversity and inclusion. I can't not shout out MomoCon because that's also great, and they have one of the most colorful guest lists that I've ever seen. Colorful in multiple reasons: diversity, inclusion, everything. So
I need to make one of those. I've yet to go to one.
I thought you you want to make them.
Make a Momo.
Come on through. Your media, just talk to me. But and these exist and they have been growing to what they are now. But again, it's not nearly as accessible for everyone to get to during certain times. So this is a good opportunity to see, to put this in front of an audience that is, again, very central to all the states, pretty close to New Orleans, So, I mean, if people want to make the drive from New Orleans, Louisiana, anywhere in Mississippi, it's just in a place where I think people would not be used to seeing something like this. The other corners of the country, well, I don't know about the Pacific Midwest, honestly. I have zero about that. But, I'm hoping things are popping up in California. New York is a very busy place too. But Atlanta and the South is sort of like, we're close enough that people could come, but it's good to spread out. I know I've said that multiple times. So that's what interested me in being involved, because it's another city that, I would love to explore and see and have Black people take over. And, it's not too far away.
It's be my second time in Montgomery ever in my life. So I look forward to returning.
My first. It's going to be my first.
Really? Wow.
I'm very interested in going. I'm coming from the West Coast, and we have a lot of cons out here that are really inclusive. So I've been very fortunate. Phoenix Con, Amazing Con. I'm sorry. What's the other one? Tucson Con. They do a really good job in including the Black community in these events. Also, the stars that they invite, they look like us, so we feel very welcome. But I do know that I've run into people who have that same problem where they don't feel welcome at cons, and it's got to be hard because we're all brethren, sisters and brothers of like mind. So you would think that we would always feel welcome when you're talking about sci-fi, when you're talking about comics, video games. So it's nice every time I hear someone wanting to do something, specifically for us. I love it because it's always needed. It will always be needed, and it should always be welcomed by everybody. And we should always want it to be successful. So I just want more people when they see Black people doing something, pitch in. Don't just feel like what am I getting out of it? Just pitch in. See it be successful, and step back and enjoy it, because some kid somewhere might be their first con, and they might grow up and do something amazing based off of their interactions with the people at the con. So
that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to be the spark for a lot of young kids.
And we can be
a spark for them.
I used to go to schools out here in Arizona when my kids were younger. And do these comic book team building exercises in these classes. And Arizona years ago was not as multicultural as it is right now. And a lot of people don't know it is, but it really is. It's a nice different mix of all different races out here right now. But I say all that to say, I still have kids, and this is from 10 years ago, that I see as young adults who are actual artists now, who are into game dev, who are into all different types of things based off of their interactions when they were in 3rd, 4th grade. That stuff holds on. Yeah, they hold on to all that stuff.
That's what we want.
Years to come.
Yeah, I have friends who are like in the game. Like I have a friend who works for Insomniac, and that's how she is. Like she was basically born with controller. That's what she said. She's born with controllers in her hands.
That's right. So we do.
Shout out to Tasha, and shout out to you, Renee, too. I appreciate the shout out for me. So
nice.
Yeah, and there's so many that I forget to shout. I mean, in Atlanta specifically, and I would hate. I know I can never name everybody, but I would hate for anyone to think that I missed out. But I've been to multiple conventions. Big and mostly smaller. I won't say big and small, but I've been to conventions big and small. But a lot of the things that people have tried to do around Atlanta, I want to give a just general shout out to, because it's not easy. Like we're finding that there's a lot of moving parts to getting even this put in place from day one. People expect. I don't think people expect like Comic-Con day one, like year one. And it's not possible,
Not at all.
It takes even Comic-Con wasn't Comic-Con year one, Dragon Con wasn't Dragon Con year
Definitely
one. So
not.
we're definitely seeing the growing pieces of this, and hopefully this is also an inspiration for others to continue doing their shows, big and small. We're being pretty. I say we're following Roy, and Roy's being really gung ho with like a 3-day convention, but there are a lot of people who do 2-day. There's people who just do 1-day meetups.
1 day. Yep.
And that's a great start because you are still bringing the community together. So,
yes.
There's a group chat of, I don't know how many there are of us in there now, like 20.
It's like maybe 20 to 30 people almost, maybe.
Right. So we're all kind of with that like mind coming from different areas, but all with that same like fandom spirit and creativity spirit that we're looking forward to making this happen.
That's what's up. So I have a question. First of all, I'm loving everything that I'm hearing, and I want to be down. Definitely want to see how HBCU Con can help Urban Nerd Con get on board. I'm with it.
I know we're talking to a seasoned con runner right now, like the founder from founding up. We're coming in like we've helped.
Yeah.
Stop! You're gonna make me blush, please. Oh my gosh. I'll talk about myself a little bit in a second, but my real question to you, because I have my brothers in Birmingham, right? So why Montgomery? And also as a historian too, I want to know like why Montgomery? Why not like Texas? Why not Mississippi? Why not I don't know, Louisiana. Why Montgomery and why not Birmingham? Why Montgomery, Alabama?
Excellent questions. Actually, I think that Roy, while doing some work, because he was working with another production
Mm-hmm.
in the Montgomery area, I think that actually got him the chance to meet up with some people in Montgomery. And there he is. There he is. Roy Mitchell Evans says Montgomery
Montgomery
wanted us.
Alabama.
So, you kind of go where you want it, and where people
That's
want
fair.
to make things happen for you. So it's a little easier. I know he tried earlier in some other places, and it wasn't as smooth as he preferred. So
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery made it real easy for us to be there.
Mm. Gotcha. That's what's up. That's what's up. And I have to definitely, I want to sing your praises too, Renee, because I feel like we're two of, even though like you've been fluid throughout like the con circuit in terms of like who you work for, so to speak. I have very much admiration and respect for you and what you do.
Aw,
Yeah, for real.
thanks.
I just wanted to make
Flowers.
reciprocate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There
For
you
Let's
sure.
go.
go.
Yeah, but it's on you, girl. What's your question?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do some back and forth. So I'm
Um,
gonna take over this
Yeah, I'm
area.
kind of like,
Well,
I'm kind of like having a brain fart.
no, it's fine. So, I would love for Radi and Raji to talk
I know she
about,
is.
some of the exciting guests or panels that either you're hosting or that we have on our schedule, basically per your track. We kind of separated people's and gave them tracks per their real interests. So, Radi, let's start with you. What was what track are you sort of helping to build, and some of the key programming that we're expecting?
So the track I'm working on is everything. Everything I do is going to be gaming based. So I've done the same track for many years at different cons, and they've all had really good turnouts. So I kind of like to stick with what I know people enjoy. One of the main tracks that I do it's actually one of my favorites. It's like, so you want to be a game developer, and all this track does is I give you resources into how to start developing your first game. I get at the end of the panel, they get a link to this book where they can print the pages out, and it gives them a walkthrough on how to start from what engine you should start with, the story idea, what your gameplay is going to be like. It like covers the nuts and bolts of the game itself before you even start developing anything. You have to lay down your track, and that's what most people get stuck at when they're creating a video game. It's the how, the why am I developing it? You got to answer all these questions. And that panel does really well because there are people who are, who've never developed, and there's people who have, they're novice developers, and they all come in looking for some answers. We're not teaching them how to program. We're not doing any of that stuff. You do that on your own time. Right now, what I feel with that first panel, it's just about resources, where to start, and how to get the ball rolling. And so I do that panel. I do another panel on distributing your game. And there's some softwares that I use that most people don't even know exist, and a lot of them are free. And I just walk them through the softwares, and again, I'm not teaching them how to use it. I'm just showing them what it can do, and hopefully it sparks something in them so that they can go back home, go to the follow the links that I've sent, that I've shared with them, and start learning this stuff. Start playing around with it a little bit, with a little bit more less fear, because they know what it can actually do for them. And so these are the kind of panels that I do. I usually do about 3 of the same panel and kind of recycle them because they seem to be the most beneficial to people who are trying to get into game dev, or even when I do the comic book development panel, which I'm not doing here because we have a lot of really cool comic book panels. So I didn't feel the need to kind of, jump in on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I want to sit in on some of those actually.
Right?
Feel
You know?
free. They are a lot of fun. I'm telling you, they're a lot of fun. People love tons of questions and answers, and sometimes I learn something because there are people who also like to share things that they found out that I might not be up to date on, and I just
Mm-hmm.
add that to the to the resource list. So it's all about sharing.
Right.
Gotcha. That's what's up. So, what kind of con is Urban Nerd Con? Is it a multi-fan convention? I heard you guys talk about comics. I heard you talk about video gaming, or just gaming in general. And are there any other like areas that you all focus on? I know you talked about connecting with the youth and providing
Oh yeah.
resources. And I know the youth are like big into anime, of course. Like we talk about that all the time. We talk about our target audiences and stuff and how to engage the student populations, college and high school. So
Right.
what other components do you guys focus on to like specifically engage the youth in the the local community, I guess?
Well, not only do we have comics and gaming, we have cosplay, we have horror, sci-fi. We've got we're gonna have vendors out there, people who doing artwork, people doing crafts. We'll have like an artist
Nice.
section for so that people can meet artists and hopefully buy some of their work. And we'll have people who are selling books and whatnot. So we try to cover a broad range of things at this particular con, and
Mm-hmm.
we wanted as many people as possible to have something to come and get interested in or take advantage of or take a look at.
That's what's
Um, Now for what I cover, I'm over the comic book track of the con, and so we've got people coming in from a couple of different independent companies,
mm-hmm.
people who are self-publishing, like
Mm-hmm.
Second Sight Comics, Freestyle Comics. Um, we're not too many, and actually a couple of people who've done some work with one of the big two, DC and Marvel.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
we're getting a lot of people who have actual experience in the field. And a couple of the presentations, a couple of the panels we're working on is giving people advice on how to get started if they're an artist, how to get started if they're a writer. We have one panel where we're actually going to go through the whole process from start to finish to self-publish your comic.
Nice.
And so, I'm really excited about those things because I think that once again, we're trying to get people who are the younger crowd to get
Right.
into it and get started earlier. And so
Right.
that's how I look at as a way to get people kind of spark their interest and get them going, get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm really
awesome.
excited about those.
Yeah. That's
Kind of
dope. I want
speaking
to do
of,
the same thing, so that's cool. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, speaking of freestyle comics, Dana let us know that one of the artists did the background logo, so that's pretty cool. Bringing that
Oh
all
yeah.
circle. I
Yeah.
think that's what we discussed earlier.
Right. One of the
Um,
artists from Freestyle Comics did the logo.
Is it
Mhm.
Ryan Robinson? Because he's always doing it. I know he's always doing more on this.
That's a
I
ding.
think that's who she said.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
possibly. She'll let us know so we get the right person to shout out. But
Michael Watson.
Mm-hmm. Michael Watson. Yeah, I was like, I knew it had to be one of those two because then the homies right there.
so I mean, they
Right.
also had very talented
Mm-hmm.
people coming through.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna get there, Roy. I didn't forget. But speaking of being able to, encourage the youth and the next coming generation who's
Nice.
really hungry for this sort of content to be very outward with their fandoms and to learn. There is a group called the Ed Farm Youth Group Fellows or Youth Fellows, Ed Farm Youth Fellows that
Mhm.
are coming on Friday. So they're bringing like busloads of kids in just to explore the event and the convention and have like a sort of freestyle safe space to talk to writers, go to some of these panels, engage in the panels and the programming, as well as there's an opportunity if people want to donate in, they can buy the youth ticket. It's on the website. It's like $25, but like 10 of that goes just it's basically a $10 admission, and then, or was it $15 admission, $10 for them to use?
Con bucks.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's
Con
$10 con bucks to use at any of the vendors that are there. So I'll mention any of like the family-friendly vendors that are there. So you're really like promoting even more because you're allowing them to, and that's not just for the Ed Farm Youth Fellows. This would be for any teen or someone that you wanted to be able to go. People can get their tickets, which are buy one get one right now. So $50 gets you 2 tickets. It's $25 for those tickets. Throw another $25 in there as a donation, and you are giving $10 for one of the youth to be able to spend at the con. So
right.
We want to be able to have as many of them walk away with something in their hand, because I've also seen that be super influential for kids to be able to say, like, I really like this comic, or I really love this fantasy novel, or this art, I heard this author speak and I need to know more about that. And they can leave with, or maybe they just find like a t-shirt or a keychain that they love.
Right.
They can leave with that and then be inspired for, an upcoming convention, or being kind of proud to show that to their friends.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to. Roy made sure that the kids were thought of, and that we were really giving back and paying that forward from day one.
Nice.
Right. And not an afterthought. That's very, very impressive. They were not afterthoughts at all. He was really gung ho on, young kids coming to this con and leaving with something. And it means a lot. I mean, we've all been to cons and we've seen kids stick their hand in their pocket and come out with $2 and I want this, and it's special. It's very special, man.
I remember being one of those kids.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We did it was, I can't remember. I think it was a fundraiser. It was MomoCon. And this is how I know kids really do care, because we did this fundraiser where we're like, if you give us any amount of money, 25 cents, whatever, we'll play one of the songs from the show. It's like a Steven Universe sing along. We'll play a song from it. And like multiple little girls came up and they're like handing me a couple dollars. I'm just like, I don't want to take this from you, because, but I did. I mean, it was going for other kids. It was for St. Jude's.
That's right.
That just should, and that's for a song. So imagine if somebody could take home like something that, especially if the picture on the front cover looks like them, a vampire huntress that resembles them, or a warrior, or a ninja, or a superhero, they're going to want that. So it just shows that you could be the person kind of paying that forward. So in case you can't come, or you just wanted to find a way to support in general, like, anyone who may be listening and unsure if they can make it this year.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an untapped market, especially in that area. And you have to know your audience, because not every con is a kid con, right? Like even the origin of conventions, they weren't kid events in terms of like the earlier events, but they're important to have kid conventions. It's important for kids to see that, to be able to be exposed to it in ways that are like, okay, like, parents are cool with it. But everybody has their own thing. Like Katsicon does its thing. And Urban Nerd Con does its thing. HBCU Con does its thing. But I think it's really cool that you kind of like know your audience, and you're really doing like honing in on the family thing. So that's really dope.
Because I mean, I don't have kids right now, but I'm at the age where, and I have similar friends who are our age, my age, who do.
Right.
And you don't also want to isolate that level of nerd who has been a nerd their whole life and still wants to do this, but is maybe nervous about, not having a secure place for them to bring their kid and to find something for them. So, I mean, there are definitely aspects of, I think we do have an 18 plus area, and we will have some 18 plus panels, but in terms of just the general floor and being able to be welcoming for kids and teens, but also parents who want to bring their kids, like Roddy said, that was like a forethought.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Well, I don't know what you got.
I think it's your turn, CT.
I'm just so right. I'm just loving this. I'm so taken aback. Well, not even taken aback, but I love the whole Ed Farm Youth Fellows program. I think that's really awesome, and just like something I've never really heard of before, quite frankly, at any convention. So I think that's really, really cool. So shout out to you guys for that. And shout out to you, Roy. I know you out there listening.
Out there in space.
Dana wanted
Yes.
to make sure we did not miss out on the guests, which
Facts.
is like a great way to sort of, I won't say end it, but like it's definitely a next level thing. So if we didn't sell anybody up to this point on like coming in and being part of an amazing community and leaving with fandoms, I don't know.
That's a good point.
The guest list that Roy secured is, I mean, I would say atypical for a first year convention. Like we've done a great job. He's done a great job in reaching out, and a lot of guests were actually really interested to be seen and be on site and to really support what we're doing. So I know in the first guest that I saw on the list was Timok, who is Bruce Leroy in
Yeah.
Let's go.
I know. Like,
Listen to me.
Like that?
It's a cult.
Every
man.
single
really
one
is.
of my kids have watched The Last Dragon at least 10 times. They are all adults now, and they know every scene. And when I get grandkids, they will watch The Last Dragon.
It is, yeah.
And I have this thing where I tell people, if you listen to the soundtrack, you can solve all life's problems by listening to The Last Dragon soundtrack. It's just fantastic.
Well, now we know why there's so many problems. I'm gonna have to go back and watch The Last Dragon. I'll be honest, for the first time. Like, I've obviously seen it. It has been, I'm telling you, cartoon.
I almost had a stroke, and I'm just recovering from COVID right now. I can't be taking this type of.
It's like a religion in New York. Like, it really is. It's a denomination. Like,
that's where I'm from, so I can tell you, we watched it.
It's a whole the martial arts, especially the Black martial arts community up there is huge. And in Atlanta, low key. Shout out to Shinobi Sean and them. Mm-hmm.
But actually, speaking to kind of dovetail off the Timok being a guest, we're gonna have a special screening of The Last Dragon at the con. We'll also have a fight demonstration with Timok. We're also going to have some content from one of the major Black fight choreographers and stuntmen in the industry named China McCoy. He's going to be there.
Nice.
There's another actor who's also a stuntman named Panu, who was in Stargate. He's going to be there. I don't know. I don't remember if he's doing a fight demonstration, but I know he's also a choreographer and a stuntman. So we're going to have people who, again, who you normally wouldn't have thought about, but they're going to be there in terms of doing those kind of things that you don't normally see Black people doing. So, it's going to be a really great opportunity to see that go down. We're also going to have Kevin Grievous, who was the writer of the Underworld films.
Nice.
He also was I think he was in Underworld 1 and 3, if I remember correctly. And he also, another thing people don't know about, he created I, Frankenstein.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he also created the superhero, the Blue Marvel, for Marvel Comics.
Oh, wow.
Town. Look at dropping gems.
So he's going to be in the horror panels. He's going to be in some horror panels. He's going to be in some comic book panels. So he's going to be all over the place, and this will be, again, a golden opportunity to meet someone who's done it on all kinds of levels.
Yeah.
I wanted to also throw in Tiffany Tony's name. I think Dana Moana will like this because she is also helping with that stunt choreography.
Hold up, Tiffany Tony?
Tiffany Tony.
I went to college with Tiffany Tony.
Well, you got to come now.
I'm like, Tiffany Tony. I'm like, why does that sound so fun? I'm like, hold up, Tiffany Tony. I know Tiffany Tony.
Yeah. She's Hawaiian born.
Hold on.
This says she's born in Hawaii. So
she may be. That would be
news to
Texas. Me. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay,
did you go to an HBCU?
But she does do stunts and stuff. Like,
this is probably she says I'm looking at her bio right here. It says
America. Say she went to Bowie State.
No, but it did say she was something. Oh, this is America's Most Wanted in DC. But I think that has to do with a writer. It's like writer and producer for America's Most Wanted in Washington DC. So she worked in Washington. So
that's what I'm like. Now I want to know.
If you go to our website, you can see her picture. She's real cute.
Okay.
So we'll talk later. Just send me the link later. If you went to HBCU, you have people from everywhere coming to your school.
Right.
Hey.
That'd be really cool. I mean, listen, it's all the 6 degrees now. 4
That's what it is.
Yeah, for real.
Not just Kevin Bacon.
Exactly. I think we're getting further. I actually feel like
into the void, right?
He's getting moved out, and there are other people getting moved in. And I think Tiffany Tony has just taken his place. But yeah, those are. I just wanted to add that in because another stunt person and woman.
Yeah.
And then Rob Morgan. So everyone's been watching Stranger Things. The very stern brown sheriff. He's coming.
Very stern.
Brown sheriff. Okay.
He was just trying to do his job. He was
also in Luke Cage.
And Daredevil. He's like cross.
Yeah.
He's one of those cross characters that goes between like the Defenders shows. So that's gonna be pretty cool to have him on site.
Also, we're gonna have a voice actor extraordinaire, Dave Fennoy, who's done all kinds of work in the industry, film, animation, television. He's done all kinds of voiceovers, and trust me, when you hear his voice, you'll be able to attach him to some character from some show.
Nice.
And he's actually going to be giving a voice actor kind of a class, a mini class, so to speak. And so that's going to be really good. And for people, again, if you're interested in voice acting or you want to see what that's like, check them out.
I know for a fact, second question people ask at any convention is, how do I get into voice acting? I've heard it more times than any other question at conventions. So if you're interested in that, and especially want to get it from, a person of color, a Black man, come on through, and you can sit in and you can ask all the questions you want. Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Roy wanted us to also mention Anthony Montgomery and Adele Simmons, both from what? Okay, so I know Adele Simmons is Star Trek. We have Star Trek and we have Stargate.
Right.
Don't get mad at me. I didn't want you. I'm also on stuff.
I've not watched Stargate. I'm a Star Trek fan. Stargate, no. So I'm with you. Me and you, we'll be all right.
I'm gonna have to get caught up. I'm not. There's a lot of animation content and other content. But,
yeah, there is. Adele Simmons was the first Black female assistant director in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was calling the shots.
She's got a lot of stories. Trust me, we interviewed her on Grumpy Old Nerds. She has a lot of stories.
Grumpy Old Nerds.
I'm sure she'd be willing to tell them. Some things she's probably willing to tell in person more than virtual and on tape too. So you're gonna want to come check out her table.
Absolutely.
Of course, Tony loves Star Trek and Stargate. We know. Tony.
Yes, Tony. We know you love them all.
Yeah.
Yay! My mom named me after Star Trek. I'm only a mild Star Trek fan, and I've watched Stargate by proxy. So.
But I mean, it is this. I do know it's the 25th anniversary of Stargate, so this is a pretty big year for. I'm sure all the actors who are kind of either doing the con circuit or just online in general. So if you want to come and be part of that particular part of the celebration, it's really cool to get autographs, photos. We have people who will be on site doing the paid photos. So, and I'm gonna go ahead and flex this. I know it's not going to sound like a flex, but
flex it
will be. Because this is a first year convention, it's possible that our numbers may be a little smaller than a convention that you're used to that's been around for a lot of years. So don't not come if you want to get pictures with any of these people, because I guarantee you the wait may be a little bit shorter and you'll have more time to be like, oh my God, you inspired me so much. And I just want to ask 3 follow-up questions.
More time to interact.
Yes,
that's right.
So that's what's really nice about the intimate cons is, the ones that just start out, you don't have to worry about the big crowds. You can, people used to say that about Dragon. Again, I love Dragon. I'm there. They're like, oh, it's cool because I could run into, Nichelle Nichols on the elevator. But like, there's no elevator here. And I guarantee you this is not the size of Dragon Con. So instead of maybe running into someone in an elevator, you can just hang out at their table until the next person comes in. Not in a weird
light pack. This is a light pack right here.
Exactly. You go to you find one of the smaller cons and you go to the small cons so you can just like hang out and be cool with people and some of the guests and celebrities. And support them because they're making the trip to see you guys, us, but they're also doing it because they want to meet us. So thanks. Get those BOGO tickets.
So I have a question since you guys were talking about sci-fi just now. And we have a partnership with the Fine and Performing Arts Center at Bowie, and they have a program called Visual Communication and Digital Media Arts, which encompasses a lot of the stuff that kind of coincides with the con community, things like costume and fashion design. They got a hip hop minor track, and they also have an Afrofuturism track. So that's like a big thing, yeah, that we've like, even the chair of the department, Professor Tio, who I would love to connect all of you with, as a matter of fact. But he's like, yeah, Afrofuturism, it's like a thing. And I'm like, and even for me, when it comes to sci-fi, that's always been the biggest draw for me. So how do you guys plan to incorporate that? Or rather, it seems like you're kind of doing so already. And look, Renee.
We have like 3 Afrofuturism panels throughout the weekend. Well, we have 2 Afrofuture panels planned. So as we get closer and closer, we'll see. But we have so much interest with our with a lot of the creators who speak on this that we couldn't fit everybody into one panel. So we have over at least 2 hours of programming geared towards Afrofuturism, Afro-retroism, and then Afro Southern culture, which is a tie-in to how people create. Writers have a theme based off of that as well. So the discussions will definitely be happening, and there's going to be a lot of talk on it throughout the different panels. But we also, you mentioned hip hop. We have and cosplay. We have a cosplay. We have a few cosplay track panels. Pros and Cons Cosplay and Jazz the Bat are going to be there. So yeah, I know, super excited about both of them. And then we do have a comics and hip hop panel. I think I saw on there.
Correct. Yep, a crossover in comics and hip hop is going to be one of the panels in the comic track, comic books.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Cool. It sounds like y'all got it together. I'm with it. I wish I could come. I'm sad. I'm like, how much are flights to Montgomery?
That's the fun part. Yeah, I know. If we were just a little bit more north, maybe it would be not so bad. It's
they're a little pricey.
Like if it were drivable, like I got 2 weeks maybe, but like that's a long drive.
We won't put it on you. You do what you can. Hopefully it's gonna be not the last year that we do this. So and with this group of people, there's always a possibility for, like, who knows what's in the future. But and just kind of like Radi had mentioned, some of these the people who are helping to build this, they travel. They have their topics that are very near and dear to them, that they're very, very informed on, and do go to a lot of different events. So you may still get some of this magic, maybe just traveling through to different conventions. But we're always talking about fly to Atlanta and then
rent a car and drive to Montgomery.
I'm gonna definitely have to drive back to Atlanta though. Then I'm gonna have to come see Renee though.
I mean, please.
It would be a waste if I didn't.
Come, we'll hang out. So much good food around in Atlanta.
And we'll drag Greg with us. Greg and hopefully Marcus.
Oh yeah,
Greg Burnham and Marcus Williams.
Marcus, they'll be there.
They'll be there.
You know what?
See, and they ain't even tell me. See, I'm a cuss Greg and look.
Always together
right now.
They're.
I'm sorry, y'all.
If they can make it to a place, they'll make it to a place. But they're both gonna be there. Plan to be there.
They'll be there participating in the comic book panels too.
Nice.
They ain't even tell me. I'm gonna beat him.
CC, do you feel like we just like made this con where it's like, shh, don't tell CC?
Right? Yeah, for real. I'm gonna tell Greg. Like you always in my DMs talking about some ew responding to my story, just being petty.
I know.
You could tell me about Urban Nerd Con.
I know.
Sorry.
I mean, things had to build up. And I mean, I'm not about to start a whole other type of conversation, but when we get involved with things, it's good to know that it's going to happen. And again, I'm being very careful right now, but we have seen conventions from the past that have started, looked really good on paper, maybe too good on paper, and then they don't happen. It's Urban Nerd Con. I'm not Urban Nerd Con. I'm talking about Universal Fan Con. I know I just threw that out there because I don't think there's no one that we know that is even connected to it anymore. But
I never even heard of it.
Oh,
Me neither.
that's a completely different. Basically, it touted all these really, again, too good to be true lineup, and then in the very end, it did not happen. So, if we're getting involved in something, it's good to know that we're at least trying to make it work. And the end of that convention, the community kind of came together and was like, we're going to make this happen regardless. But it's very meaningful to know that people follow through what they're doing. And again, it's not easy to host a convention. It's just not. Yeah. So
definitely not.
And Quiet as Kept, that did put like a stain on Black con runners, that incident, especially Black women con runners. Yeah. It was like, oh, okay.
People did not
when
recover.
This is happening. Yeah.
Their reputations did not recover from it. And I will go down like,
Yes.
It was a Fire Fest of
Fire Fest was so funny. I was watching it unveil when it was happening, and it was the funniest thing in my entire life that I can remember. And that would be horrible if that con was like it.
I mean, you know what? It was actually almost worse than Fire Festival because I think the con runners just bounced. Like nobody tried to make anything happen. It was the vendors and people who were local who were like, well, I guess we need to find another space for this. And like, put together a con in like a day because all these vendors were out and all this sort of stuff was going on. So again, that's a completely different conversation.
Oh, that's a mess.
General, but it does put a hindrance and a damper on people who on Black con runners. It put it put a stigma on people even doing like Kickstarter. We didn't do a Kickstarter for this, but when people do Kickstarters for their conventions or for their things, like people are like, oh, I don't know. So the ability to just show up and do the thing is very helpful. And, we're talking about this and how hard it is and all these things. But I mean, real shout out to Roy because this is something he wanted to do. I mean, we know a lot of his pockets is going into this. A lot of what they're doing is going into this. And so it's just at this point we're close and we're ready to make it work. And it's just like I anticipate, and as Tony just said, come out, support it, and be there with us. But again, this is a first year con, so we'll expect some feedback. I'm gonna expect feedback. I'm gonna expect things to be kind of new. But what we do know is we're gonna have community there. And
I like how you're putting this right now, Renee. I like that.
Exactly.
Dang, we ate that time up. I was looking and I was like, oh, we still got 30 minutes. And then I was like, dang, we don't.
The time goes by really, really fast.
It does.
But I'm glad that y'all brought that up because a lot of people forget that a lot of first time cons, a lot of funds come out of the con goer founders and the people that are planning it because they have such a passion for this con and they want to give it life. But everyone that is watching and those that are watching on recording, you're the ones who can give it sustainability. By you supporting it, by you giving the numbers, you can give life to have this become more longevity for this particular con. Because a lot of times we know in the con world that if a con lasts past year 7, the con is going to stay. But a lot of cons, we lose them after year 3.
Okay, so that's the line, huh? 7.
That's that number.
It's something about that between year 3 and year 7, the cons that don't have a good structure and don't have great management and PR for any issues and things like that, things start falling apart as time goes on, and to the point that it gets either attendees stop going or it's no longer feasible to keep it up.
Okay. Shout out to behind the scene who said they're rooting for us. Hey, I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
We're rooting for y'all too, man.
Now, I have a question. As being a media outlet that is connecting the community to a lot of things that are going on, how can press outlets be able to apply to cover your convention and even interview some of your guests?
I'm gonna take that one.
You got it.
And first, I'm gonna shout out to Roy because he has been getting some major news coverage in Montgomery area. So we are hoping that that is going to help us build the excitement in that area because you're reaching immediately local. TV is good. If you're interested in coming through, I've already reached out to like a couple of people who I know are in the Birmingham area or in Alabama. I'm going to say just go ahead and reach out to me. I will figure, you know what, just reach out to the page. I've convinced Roy to give me access to the Facebook page. If you reach out to the Facebook or our Instagram page, send a message. I will work with him and we'll work to see about getting you there. And then in terms of having kind of like a media room, because it's year one and we don't expect I mean, we're expecting a good amount of crowd, but we may be able to get some opportunities based off how I've worked this with other conventions to, try to get some exclusives, get you some time with people to get for your different outlets. So I'm gonna have a plan, but like I said, message us on, message the Urban Nerd Con on Facebook or Instagram and just let me know that you're interested in covering.
Well, I'll definitely be messaging because I will be there helping Freestyle Comics, but I definitely want to also cover it to make sure to give visibility for those that don't attend to see what all they missed out on.
Oh yeah, Dana's coverage is going to be phenomenal. I already know it. So yeah, looking forward to that. But I mean, we got you. We got you.
Yes, and please look after her because I've been waiting on her to sit down somewhere while she was. I've been low key like,
I know.
Come on, Dana. I know you work hard, Dana, but I feel just
Actually, so let's see. I'm talking, and Roy's actually, I guess, are contracted to talk with at least one media outlet outside of us. So that's a good opportunity. If anybody is, like I said, local in the Alabama area, if you work for a news outlet, you have a YouTube channel, you have a really good TikTok following.
Yeah.
Send us a message. We're, content is content, and we want good content of the space and able to give you opportunities to help boost yourself and to help boost us in this con.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And especially any of the cons that have the partnership, especially after this con passes, for Rod and Reddy, a lot of cons offer other cons complimentary tables to promote your con, like MomoCon and cons like that. So definitely keep abreast of what other conventions so you can promote leading up next year for that.
Excellent idea.
I mean, when we go to HBCU Con, we'll just have to ask for a table and just be there. Maybe bring Tori out as well and get some cool stuff.
That would be dope. Yeah. I mean, real talk, it's always good to engage with like-minded events. And not only that, but just also like new and emerging events, because then you kind of get to build with them.
Before, definitely that.
And then you have that real like close relationship. Not saying you can't have that with the bigger con runners, like Renee was saying, MomoCon, they're real like warm and fuzzy with it. So from what I've been told, at least I haven't had the honor of meeting them personally. But
you'll like Jess.
Yeah, I hear great things. I hear really great things about the con runners there.
Roy, we are already talking to the HBCU con people.
He's right here.
Oh, are you serious? Listen, I just met the commissioner of the CIAA yesterday. We got to talk offline. Well, I mean, I'm not getting paid, so I guess I could talk about it. I'm the associate director for the HBCU program for the Human Rights Campaign.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting paid, so I have to go through it either.
We're gonna have a Black con. Like, is that gonna be a thing? Are we gonna have a convention for Black con?
We can keep that. We keep going down that rabbit hole, Let's go.
Yeah, Black con gang. Like,
let's get real niche with it.
Get together.
Absolutely.
And we just meet somewhere in the middle, like, because there's one in Cali. There's a bunch.
That is not the middle, but I would definitely still go.
Yeah. Over here is they have a lot of great cons, though.
I don't know.
Well, Rod and Rade, as we're wrapping up, can you tell everybody that's watching how they can follow both yourselves and the Urban Nerd Con.
Okay, you can check out the Urban NerdCon on theurbannerdcon.net, which is going across the scroll right now.
Nice.
You can follow you can see the Grumpy Old Nerds on myjbn1 on YouTube, as well as on Facebook. And my Instagram is Ronan_Rod, and that is how you reach me on Twitter. And well, IG, I think my IG is just the Fireborough Ronan. So you've got
I like that.
Ronan_Rod for Twitter and Fireborough Ronan for IG. So that's me.
Mine's just my first and last name on Facebook, on Instagram. And my website is openworldcomics.com. I also have some games you can go there and check out. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And Cece and Renee, our guest co-hosts, also, can you provide the audience how they can follow you both also and your platforms?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Ms. Cooper. You got it.
Okay. So I'm Renee Cooper, but don't follow me on Facebook because I get very emotional sometimes. But you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Renee4 Atlanta. I am working on my website, so once I have that done, I'll get that. Right now it is peachymade.com. Sometimes I put shirts and stuff for sale. It's real silly. But definitely, I would love if you followed me on Instagram. Yeah, that's about it. And then we've already said where to find. If you are looking into any sort of media press for the Urban Nerd Con, Facebook or Instagram, message either of those two places, and just ask for me and say that's what you're interested in.
I love you and all of your emotions. Your emotions are lit. I'm with it. So
Don't follow me on Facebook because I get.
Oh yeah, you go ahead. I'm like, I ain't know what she said, co-host, so I don't know. Go ahead, Raji.
Oh no, I'm good. I was just commenting on what Renee said about a Facebook account. We're good.
Yes, I love the Facebook account. The Facebook account is lit.
That's what Facebook's for. Good old fashioned rant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I literally was just ranting about the new Resident Evil series, how it flared my COVID back up. So.
Oh my god!
Damn.
Well, now I have to watch. It's animated, right? Or is it
no live action? Oh my goodness! You know what?
Okay, I'm gonna.
That's another 20 hours.
Okay.
Okay, so is this something to watch or avoid?
Please avoid it at all costs. My wife loves it, but she didn't play the video games or read the anime or watch the. So I'm one of those people.
Yeah. I got you.
So yeah, my wife is like, she's like crushing each episode. I'm like, and she's texting me as we're doing this, just like trying to convince me that I should finish watching it. I'm like, I will leave right now, never come back.
Okay, well, that will be on Grumpy Old Nerd soon.
Fits right in, right? It definitely fits the bill. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And Cece, don't forget to give how to follow you and your and HBCU Con.
Thank you. Yes, as for me, at CC the Geek, pretty much on all platforms except for Twitter. It's my old name, which is CC the Greek Geek, because obviously. And then HBCU Con on all platforms. Also HBCU Convention on Instagram. I mean, it's HBCU Con too. We have 2 pages, just in case. I'd be like wanting backups, you know. But yep, that's pretty much it, y'all.
All right.
This was fun.
Well, of course, there was one last question before we get ready to end. Tony was asking Renee, when are the Peachy Maids coming back?
Tony, we can talk literally any other time about this. Like, I don't know the people who have thought, like, you have my Facebook. We are friends on Facebook. You know what? It's funny. When I first started talking with Roy, he did ask me if I wanted to try that at the Urban Nerd Con, and I said absolutely not. I don't know anybody in. Listen, I can barely get my volunteers. I love all of my volunteers. You're great, moi, choo. But like, hard to get volunteers for this because I work them very hard. because they're very cute and I want them to get tipped. So in the future, we shall see. We will really see. It's always on my mind. I do miss it a lot, but maybe at a future convention.
We'll make it happen.
I'm scared to ask now.
We'll make it happen.
It's a maid cafe. It's like a Japanese style maid cafe, but we're American. So it's American style maid cafe where we dress up in cute outfits that are usually themed, and we serve delicious desserts and drinks, non-alcoholic because it's family friendly. And Tony's store was the very first and place we did it most often from about 2015 until right before the pandemic.
Gotcha.
So,
Oh, wow.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
That'll
That
be
sounds
another
really
story.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully in the near future, you'll be seeing that again, and probably, eventually having it part of the Urban NerdCon. We'll see if the future beholds that. But of course, thank you everybody for tuning in. Please definitely stay tuned in at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll have our second episode, which we have our After Dark panel that will be talking about Thor, Love and Thunder. So we have basically our After Dark panel is our panelists is a bunch of Black nerds from different walks of life. We get them together and they talk about different topics ranging from Disney movies to Marvel movies or series to DC movies and series. So it's kind of getting that Black nerd perspective on a lot of the stuff coming out in entertainment of those platforms. So they're going to be talking about Thor, Love and Thunder. If you haven't watched it, we have given you a week before we decided to talk about it. So we gave it for a week.
Did you see it, Dana?
Yes, I actually did go and see it on opening day. So I got to see it
Okay.
on Thursday. So
What'd you think?
I am going to hold on to that for those that are watching.
Yep, take that to the
We'll
next
leave it for the 8:30.
spoiler. Trailer. It's a
Don't
Trying to
trailer.
start trouble already, Rod. Rod trying
No,
to
I
start some trouble.
No, because we talked about it last night on our show. I just had some questions. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I had a lot of questions, but you know what? I don't want to flare my COVID up, so I'm going to sit back and relax.
Well, we'll have to have
Wow.
y'all both join our episode either on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter that you could tune in and engage with the panelists about the movie and then probably answer some of those questions you have, Rod.
I will tune in.
All right. Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you all at 8:30. Have a great one.
Thanks. Bye.
Later, guys.
Take care.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then. When they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will. So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then and of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe, as a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation, colonizers call for annexation. Network out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will.